Hi, my name's Dhee, your Professor of Woo Woo, and welcome to Sunchild Tarot, and welcome back to Necole Stephens. I'm so pleased that you came back so we can spend some more time arguing about exactly the same point that we're both agreeing on. So firstly, I have to ask, you mentioned last time you was on the show about a soul codes course for business to a certain extent, wasn't it, you said?
Soul Codes, it's a program on mediumship, intuitiveness, and starting your business or moving forward in your business with it.
So how did it go?
Amazing, amazing, amazing. So amazing. It actually expanded into so much more than I expected. I like when the divine does that, takes over.
So is there going to be a sequel, or is it a program that's expanding? Is it an ongoing thing, or?
It's expanding. So now it's going to be a 3-month program, and it's going to start in November. I'm fairly certain, at least I'm going to launch it in November.
Yeah.
We just finished up the first round, but it's expanded into more topics. I'm so excited about it. It's all the things that I know for myself, I wish I had known when I started my business.
Yeah.
So not just how to hold my energy longer, how to maintain my connection with spirit longer, all of those things, but then also the whole masculine side of it, the business end.
Yeah.
Tax information, scheduling, programs that I needed, just different things that I did a lot of trial and error for 15 years, and then came down to a system and how to pivot between the masculine and feminine energy within my business. And so it's a whole program on that.
So how can people get involved?
They can check out my website, NecoleStephens.com. Necole is with an E. Or any of my social media, which is Necole Stephens, at Necole Stephens, or at Nicole Marie for my Instagram.
Right. As ever, all the links are going to be down in the description anyway. So
thank you.
I get them all last time.
I think so, yes.
Yeah, I don't think I missed anything. Right, as you can tell, made some notes. Oh, it's not really showing on the camera, is it? So on the back of everything that we were discussing last time, I had wanted to start the discussion about, because I rewatched it earlier and I was pretty fixated on the fact that the way that law of attraction is marketed, which is not necessarily what you are doing, is it? Mm-hmm. So we was talking about how trying to do things to alter your own vibration, it can, well, it's not really help manifest, help develop, isn't it?
Create.
Yeah. So is vibration a thing that we are, or is vibration a thing that we have?
It's both. But our emotions create our vibration. So therefore it would be something that we have.
Mm-hmm. If you look at, because this is one thing that I was thinking, like I just mentioned before the show, going through past life regression, what memories I got were totally irrelevant. But I had this space where I could see, yep, there's me with my personality. That's me. That's the me I've known since I was born. It's changed a bit, got a few wrinkles, nothing much changed. And then there was this me with a completely different personality, but it was still me. So there was obviously this me-ness that was looking out through both myself and this past life. So do these personalities equate to the vibration that we are emitting, like you're saying about emotions? Because emotions come and emotions go. Like I said, double water sign, although I obviously stumbled over my words. I said I was a Cancer moon. I'm not a Cancer moon. I'm a Cancer rising. I'm a Libra moon. So I've got a little bit of solidity there. But then again, it's Libra going, well, on one hand this and on one hand that. And in the meantime, Pisces sun, Cancer rising. So emotions, in a way, for me, they're things that are constant and happening and rolling and never finish.
I'm
Do you know
a
what I mean?
triple Cancer, so I get it. I do.
Emotions to live what you were saying, or are you sat looking, oh good, look at that wave coming and there it goes, you know, how?
Well, here's the thing, we're not our emotions either. We have emotions, right? And so our emotions are just our feedback of where our vibration is at, of what is transpiring in our world. And then it's our opportunity to course correct so that we get into the right vibration, and then we do create the thing that we do desire versus the thing that we do not desire. And so is what this conversation reminds me a lot of is, have you ever heard about the people with multiple personalities that they have done testing on?
Yeah.
And so, and how with one personality, they're healthy and they're fine. And then with the other personality, they have cancer cells, right?
Yeah.
So they're still emitting the vibration, but within that container, because in order to have the cancer cells, it has to be that vibration in that moment, right? And then it's going to shift over. And so that's what this reminds me of. So our vibrations are constantly changing depending on us, because like we were just saying, we're emotional beings, right? That's our intuition in a form. That's the way I always have looked at it. And then that I that you were referring to, the one that can see both, that's like the soul perspective of where we have that higher perspective, and we're stepping back from all of the physicalness. Our emotions and our personality don't go with us in spirit. They're here, they stay here, but it's that pure consciousness back here that's observing all of that goes to spirit, right?
Yeah.
So we have all of these things, but we don't be the things, we don't be our emotions.
Yeah.
Right. So that's why we can shift our vibration. We can't shift consciousness because we be that, you know?
Right. So you're using the vibration for that the emotional interaction that we have with ourselves and the rest of the world, which is obviously ourselves. And you're using vibration in that level. So looking at the levels of consciousness, you know how I reeled off that list of, you know, your higher self and your spirit guides and your ancestors and your holy guardian angel and your daimons. I didn't include daimons that time. And you know, your own personal demons, or, I mean, you were working as a spiritual medium for a long, long time. So you're quite aware of where there are these other, if you're not using vibration to describe your interactions with specific spirits, not just spirits, the catch-all term, but with specific spirits, when you were seeing a client, how would you classify that sort of?
I do believe I am using my vibration. I still have to be a vibrational match for spirit.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of some of them I will be and some of them I won't be, for various reasons, right? And then there's also the sitter, because their vibration is going to come into play as well. They have to be a vibrational match in order to receive. So it's like 3 different vibrations that we're working with that all have to sync up. And this answers for anyone who ever wonders why. They'll say, like, why didn't spirit come through? Did they not want to talk to me? Like, why did my loved one come through? And it's never because they don't want to talk. It could be me or whoever's reading. Their vibration may not just be a match. You know, there's so many other factors that we have to add in too, you know? So I do believe it is my vibration that is connecting to loved ones.
Yeah.
I'm just a match for them because they know that our vibration, so even though they don't have emotions there and they don't leave with that personality, this is where I think there's a lot of gray area, because they still have to know, I'm going to use like terminology that we would, how to connect with me, because I still am human.
Yeah.
So they have that sense of knowing of how to manipulate the energy to work with me.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That would be them, not me. They're the powerful ones, you know. I can only do my best to make sure my vibration is high enough to plug into theirs.
And then there's, like you say, there's the reaction with the interaction, sorry, with the client, the physical person who's come to see you.
Correct.
Because I know when I used to do a tarot tour with a friend of mine. She was a medium, and it was pretty obvious that we used to say to people, you know, you want the mediumship, you go see Claire. You want just the tarot oracular stuff, you come see me. And the amount of times that either of us would be sat in front of a client and go, right, I've got nothing. I've got absolutely nothing. You need to go and see Claire. Or she would send it over to me. Yeah.
That's it right there in a nutshell of how the vibration was just, you know, plugging into the other ones.
So without going into our long conversation like we did last time about what exactly constitutes the means to an end and what doesn't, there's one thing that you had said during that conversation was that you would want to be having a pure intention. Mm-hmm. Now, that can mean many things in many different contexts. Obviously, coming from a magical background, for more low, not necessarily the higher spiritual transmutative rituals, but the bring me my money, bring me my food, bring me my shelter, bring me my warmth, what have you sort of magic. The pure intention is, I want that. But it's not colored with, I want that because I'm in need, because I am in lack, because I am without, or because I feel guilty, or because I have something to prove. But no, this is my will, I want that. End of story. Is that a similar sort of thing to what you're meaning when you say pure intention?
Yes, because I think that a lot of the times we think our intentions are pure. They're not exactly. And that's where we get a little conflicted with ourselves because we truly believe they're pure. A great example of it is that I want financial success for security. Security for what? What are you fearful of?
Yeah.
Right? So like it's very unintentional and we're saying we want it for security. But that's coming from a fear-based place. And so it's cleaning that up and I want financial security because it's mine. Why wouldn't I have it? You know?
Yeah, I totally see where you're coming from. Which
right?
Turn around. And I'm not sure that, I mean, there's a cultural statement in that and all sorts, because I totally see what you mean with, well, I want that because why wouldn't I have it? You know, it's the natural order of things. This is where I'm supposed to be. But even then, as you say, we can lie to ourselves and we could be proving something to our parents or grandparents without realizing it, or feeling guilty for something. Or as you say, I want to be financially secure because I know if I stay in this house, it's going to fall off the cliff as the cliff erodes. You know, so another phrase that you had used was keeping my vibration as clean as possible. Now, in the way that you said it at the time, it had sounded like it was, you know, keeping your mood buoyant and always seeing the good, finding the blessings. Where does that leave the shadow work? Because sometimes we have to.
So if I didn't clarify this, I want to make sure that I clarify this. It's really important to me because I would never try to be a positive thinker. I'm not in that at all. It's honoring it's honoring your truth. I think this is the journey. This whole entire concept, this is the journey, right? So it's not about attaining the actual goal. It's about learning to use our emotions to guide us. And so where does the shadow work come in? Well, the emotions, if we're having something that's unwanted, we're feeling all the feelings, that's going to be like where the shadow work comes in. And it's about like processing that and honoring it. And let me think of a good example.
So as much as sort of going through your body and seeing where feelings are buried within the body, you could also be looking at going through person-centered counseling or some other discipline as a way of unpicking some of these emotions that aren't pleasant.
I'm not a fan of digging for anything, and really we don't have to because they're really great at coming up. If you've noticed, like they're amazing. They'll come right in your face and you're like, damn, why? you know? And so I never feel we have to go digging for anything. It's like, boom, right there. So then once it's there and we're feeling the feeling. So here's an example that I'll use that happened a long time ago. So one of the exercises I do with myself is I observe what I'm giving meaning to. And I do this, every couple of months because we're always changing things. So for example, if I look around my room and I see a light, what meaning do I give that? So the second I think of the light, it makes me think of this makeup artist. So like, that's the meaning I've attached it to that light, this makeup artist, or what's, the meaning I've given to that sofa or this book or whatever.
Yeah.
But I also do it with sounds and I do it with people. And so one day I was sitting on the floor with my husband playing with our dogs, and his knee was touching mine. It was like kind of just leaning up against it. And so it was during one of these times that I was observing the different meanings I had given things. So I wanted to detach from certain meanings, and that's why I do this exercise. So I was sitting in the kitchen, we're sitting on the floor playing with the dogs, and he moved his knee away from me. And so I observed what my inner dialogue was, and it immediately said, he's pulling away from me.
Right.
My conscious mind said, oh, he's not, he just moved his leg. But how that automatic jumped in and had said, he's pulling away from me. That's the shadow work piece for me.
Yeah.
And so as I'm observing that now, it's, what do I want to do with that? So I'm constantly doing shadow work. Because I'm constantly cleaning up my vibration in different areas. And so when I was doing that exercise with myself and like finding out what different things were about the meanings, I was doing that in order to bring up anything that needed cleaning up, so to speak. So when that came up, then I played with that and worked through that. And what does that look like for me? Acknowledging it. Awareness is the biggest thing that we can do. If we're aware of that, 9 out of 10 times, it's not an issue anymore. So now that I'm aware of he was pulling away from me, I can consciously override that and say, no, he was actually moving to go get a drink. It was very black and white, had nothing to do with him emotionally pulling away from me. And I think that's really interesting that I even had that connection to it. Therefore, that's complete. That just cleaned up that little piece of whatever in my energy, in my vibration in that moment. So that's what it looks like for me. And that's what I help my clients do, is we start to clean up their vibration, because often we have reoccurring things. So for example, that he's pulling away from me. Well, now something else transpires during my day and I feel that same, he's pulling away from me. And then it's, he's pulling away from me. So now I'm just tackling each one and I'm eliminating that, to where now I'm starting to feel more secure in my relationship. This was all automatic stuff running that really had nothing to do with me, technically. I wasn't consciously thinking that. It was all autopilot from when we were 16,
Yeah. So that's less sort of digging. You're going to hate this analogy.
No, I love it.
More sort of whack-a-mole.
Yeah.
Or trusting in the world to guide you to the things that come to your attention. I suppose it's a nicer way, but I mean, it still means whack-a-mole, doesn't it?
Yes.
It's just,
but I think that's why we can never mess anything up, because everything is an opportunity. So even when it's not aligned with what we desire, we're getting the opportunity to clean it up, right? We're getting like this opportunity to go. So say we're not, we read the quotes, we share them and everything, you were passed up because there's a greater option coming, and we're like, yeah, right. But if you actually sat with that and the opportunity didn't come for you and you felt really disappointed and you started having an inner dialogue that you aren't good enough and that why would anyone choose you, and you have all of this stuff playing, that is your opportunity to clean that up and to say, is this really true about me? Am I not good enough? And am I not likable? Am I not somebody who would somebody else would want to interview, or whatever the things are? So that being rejected for that experience brought all of this up as the opportunity.
So you were saying one of the things that you were fascinated with was the subconscious, and that tends to play those sort of tracks again and again that you've picked up at age 3, age 4, age 5, age 16, like you was just saying. Do you think we're constantly just going to be playing whack-a-mole? Because I agree. I mean, I've had a bizarre couple of days. Oh, I have to ask, how are you dealing with all the crazy astrology stuff that's going on at the moment? Because life's been a little, not extreme, but you know that there's the real world and there's Roger Rabbit, and it's been drifting into the where everything's a little overemphasized and the events really symbolic. How
I
has that
feel
been
like
going
it's
for
been
you?
really good, like really good. I have been embracing it all. I feel like everything is a deepening. That's what I've been using as a word. Everything's just deepening and deepening and deepening. So I've been enjoying it. I guess I've come to this place after a lot of inner work and I mean, shadow work, like no other, that I really do welcome the opportunities now and I don't get really rattled by them. But I don't know. I like growing and evolving. It's exciting to me.
I have to say, with the astrology recently, I was at an astrology group last night, and we was all saying, right, well, this has happened for me, and this has happened for me, and we all had that certain amount of sat back and watching itness,
Yeah.
so that we could still enjoy. I mean, obviously, on my level, you can probably tell from me, oh my God, the drama, but just in a fun way. Just the last 2 days. Yesterday, a while back, I'd said to the universe, right, here's this thing that I want. Now you can guide me to it, or you can show me how I have to change me to get to the point where that thing is within me or what have you, but I want that. And let me get rid of all the crap that's stopping me have it. Yesterday, the opportunity of that thing appeared to turn up, and it remained all day. And I was buzzing, absolutely buzzing. And this morning I saw it just go poof and gone. And so the immediate reaction was, and then I was like, no, hang on a minute. I've not even seen that bit appearing on the horizon before. So surely that's a good sign. I was taking your advice about I don't know if reframing is the right word to call it, but I suppose it is. But there's if any of us are involved in, like, for me, the astrology has helped give me some of that distance, and the fact, like I say, double water sign, I've learned how to sit back in my head and go, God, look at them waves, and everyone is, well, not everyone, but people have their own disciplines that help them stand back when they need to stand back.
Right.
There's, I must admit, my heart goes out to those who don't know how to stand back.
It does. It really does, because you're in it, right? You become it and there was the point in my own life when I couldn't stand back. And even though I knew how to stand back and I had done it in the past, and then it didn't matter, or, whatever had happened, I wasn't doing it. And I was it. I was like, my story was me.
Yeah.
There was no more, I had a story and I have the power to change the story.
Yeah.
And that felt very, very disempowering.
There's disempowering at the time, but do you regret any of it?
No, never.
Yeah, because I've had those, you encounter those black pits, and it's, oh my God, I'm in this black pit. Am I ever going to get out? And then once you've been through one or two of them, you can get, oh, look, there's another black pit. Let's get this over and done with.
We need contrast sometimes, like we need that contrast. Because like, if we never knew disappointment or any of those other things, first of all, we wouldn't have the guidance. And second, how would we even know good? If that's all we ever experienced, it wouldn't even be a thing, because how would we know? There'd be nothing to compare it to.
Another way I like to think of it is one thing that it says in A Course of Miracles that I've quoted, that it's about the only bit of the Course of Miracles I know, but consciousness has two states, okay and not okay. And if it's not okay, that's okay. because
I
it's
love that
process.
everything is and isn't at the same time.
Yes.
Right.
But much like what we were saying with the whole
Yeah.
being and having, because you can look at, people can look and talk about souls as a form of vibration, although not necessarily the form of vibration we're talking about, but like emanations from the divine, the Sephiroth, or the pleroma from the Godhead in both in like Kabbalistic or Gnostic traditions. So, like I say, it was a bit of a trick question to start off with, isn't it? So whether we have vibrations or are vibrations, the answer is just yes.
Everything is and isn't at the same time.
Which makes it really easy to navigate, doesn't it?
Right. It's all a big game. You know, I remember my son when he was 7, he told me that. And I didn't quite get what he was saying. And he said, Mom, our whole life is, he was referring to the game Sorry, and how sometimes you had to go back home early and other times you could advance. And he had this whole, like, just this whole explanation for it. And I was just like, who are you? And then he was telling me about the 7 levels in heaven. And I'm like, who are you? What? You know?
So in that point then, when we were saying like the subconscious constantly playing tracks, and we can learn to go, yeah, you just carry on playing that track over there because my attention's over here. Mm-hmm. Do you think we can ever get to that point of a pure intention while we're 100%? Or do you think it's like the horizon receding?
No, I think that we absolutely have to be consciously aware. And I think we have to put the intention and take the action and do all of the things, but 100% it's possible. I don't believe our experiences ever leave us. I don't believe that we can't shift like the things in the past. The past doesn't exist anywhere except in our mind, right? So it's just now changing our perspective of the past or of the experiences. And 100% we can always make changes in ourselves.
Yeah, there's so I'm going to check my other questions, because one thing I want to correct is something I said in the last videos, because I was saying that the planets are bigger than us. Well, yeah, but
kinda.
Again, it's that point of awareness. The interesting thing is, I think some of the things I said, I was implying that the planets are a causation, where a lot of astrology will look at them as they're a description. This is what's on the menu next, but you can view it as a causation. But I think we are the main causations. It's just things like the planets or other oracles that you can go by will show what we're likely to do or what we'd planned out before. Where are you on the idea of fate? You know, the whole fate and free will argument.
I believe that we create our realities. So is it something that's already destined in our, I don't believe the experiences, but it's the context, it's larger. So if we're going to come here and experience loss, that's the part that is destined.
Yeah.
The fate is the maneuvering of it. Where's the loss? How does it work? What turns? What have we created? What have we pulled into our own reality? You know, so that's where the turns come in. That's where the free will comes in. So loss is the thing, and then it's the context and the content.
Yeah. Okay. I like that phrase.
Yeah.
Yeah, that works really well.
It just came to me in that moment.
Isn't that? In fact, I might write that down. So, well, I think that's about it. That's all. We've managed to get through all of my questions really, really quickly. You did mention about a process when examining, when working with a client. You said that you would take them through a process at times, and I'm assuming that that's about unpicking when you're saying, I want this, okay, why? And when you, from our conversation, the end result seems to sound like it's because I do, rather than because mum told me, because school told me, or what have you. What sort of process do you work with?
Well, it's usually not when they first decide what they want. It's usually after a little bit of time. And that's usually what leads them to me, because they would desire something, they're not getting it, and they think they're fundamentally, like, something is fundamentally wrong with them. I'm like, no, you're perfect. There's nothing wrong with you. You're human, and now you're going to navigate through this experience, right? So now that they've wanted this thing, so let's say they wanted a new car. I don't know, I'm just using that for the ease of it. So they want a new car, but they can't get it. Things just aren't working out, and everything's not going in their favor. And they really want this new car. Well, I really want this new car, and it's not happening. And so I don't know if that was the best experience, but we're going to use it.
Yeah, let's stick with that one, but I know what you mean.
So they're not getting it. So the very first thing is I need to find out if they're in alignment with this new car. What is alignment? That's when our thoughts, our feelings, and our actions are all congruent. 10 out of 10 times they're not. So even though I'm consciously saying I want a new car, in my mind, now I'm thinking, how am I going to afford this car? I'm never going to be able to do it. Saying all of this dialogue is now making my feelings feel like I'm feeling hopeless. I'm feeling it's not going to happen. Therefore, the actions why am I going to even bother go look for a car? I'm not. So everything is leading to me not having a car, which I am aligned with that. I'm aligned with no car. So I am still getting what I want, or technically, I'm still getting what I'm aligned for, but it's not my desire. So it's shifting those so that they're all congruent. So now our thoughts, our feelings, our actions are congruent with the new car.
Yeah.
So first we have to determine what they're actually feeling and thinking. And in that, just knowing that, then you just flip it. You do the opposite. So if I'm thinking I'm not going to get a new car, okay, so let's think you are going to get a new car. And then when you start doing that, and then obviously I'm there to help them maintain holding this vibration, because you're going to drop and you're going to forget and you're going to think about this new car that you don't have in your driveway right now. And so then that's like, okay, you don't have it. That's okay. Now the shadow work comes in a little bit, it's like, it's okay that you don't have it. So what exactly do you want this car for? Now we're cleaning it up even further. Why do you want this car? Why do you want this specific car? Is it to show everyone something? Can you have any car? And are you going to be okay if you don't ever get a car? So we start playing with all different scenarios. But I'm making it sound a lot more intense than it is. It's actually very quick, and I
was going to say, it sounds like something that would be actually quite free flowing. There's tell me, what else have you got going on at the moment then? You've got
I have.
So is that for previous Soul Codes graduates, or is it anybody can dive in? How's it structured? Is it like live Zoom broadcast that people would be tuning in, or would they be able to hook into the stuff that's already happened? Or tell me more.
So the way that I run most of my programs is live. I really like to engage, and I like this, right? I love it. So most of my programs are live. This container for Soul Codes is now going to be 3 months, and I haven't finalized the number of classes per week. But it's going to be a minimum of 12, because that's the 3 months with 1 class per week. No, 1 class per week. I don't think I could do 12 per week. That'd be a lot. That might be overload. And the reason that I'm doing it's slower and over the course of 3 months is so that people can really start integrating the work. Because if you're new and you're starting your spiritual business and you're doing readings and you're calling in the clients and you want soul aligned clients and you're getting aligned with all of this, we need time to integrate it. And of course, you can have a quantum leap in the blink of an eye, right? Which happens. But I want to allow this space. And then you want to have, you're tracking your this and you're plugging in this, so that's why we went longer. And this is for anyone that I would say coach, intuitive, medium, astrology, human design, like any kind of woo-woo, as you call it. I never call it that ever. I've never done that, but any kind of unicorn land thing that you really want to grow your business. You want to start scaling it, or like you're just about like stepping into it and you're not really sure how to do it. When I first began, so I was getting my master's in psychology and I was almost done, and I just decided I was no longer doing it. Like I had to follow my soul because it was screaming at me. So I got up, I was in bioethics, walked out, never went back, came home. I was like, Mike, to my husband, I'm starting a spiritual business. He was like, okay. And then I remember like from that point, he was like, how are you going to get clients? And I'm like, I have no idea. Like I really didn't. I had no idea I was going to do anything. And this is the funniest thing that I probably shouldn't admit to, like, whoever's watching this, but all right, I did it. I was there. I went and made little business cards, like probably, what is that place? Like, that place that you get business cards on.
Is it like the free 500 cards?
Yeah, like something like that.
Yeah.
I went and I remember the first place, like my first business was called the Spiritual Room. So I made these little business cards, and then my friends and I went to the mall on like a Sunday night. It was pouring raining, it was like pouring out, and I put them on windshield.
In the rain.
I put them under the windshield wiper, which is probably illegal.
Yeah.
And I don't know who in their right mind would call a medium that actually they found the card on their windshield wiper. Like I have no idea what I was thinking, but all I knew was I was going to help people. So I literally put them up. So embarrassing, right?
Did you
I probably got arrested. I don't even think you're allowed to do that.
Did you get people calling?
I don't think so. No one ever said I found you on my windshield. I have to say no. Most of my work always has been through referral. But it's again calling it in. That's what I started to do in the beginning. I started to energetically call in my clients, and I would decide on how many I was going to have per week, and I'd have that, and I kept growing like that. My business has grown very organically, and so helping others do this, and I'm really excited about it. But it's also about managing your energy and about tapping in and really connecting and trusting the information that you receive, and emotional intelligence. That's a huge component of it. Oftentimes, the reason that we're not very strong as a reader, like we know that we know the things and we'll get hits, but we get conflicted with it, is because we don't have a very high emotional intelligence. And what that means is that it's very hard for us to determine what is spirit or intuitive and then what's ours.
Yeah.
So when we're really in tune with us and how we truly feel, then you know what's yours and what isn't.
Yeah.
That's a big piece of it. And the more you're aligned with yourself and you understand emotionally what's going on with you, the stronger you're going to be as a reader. 150%.
Totally with you. Totally with you there. That I mean, it's different for different disciplines, isn't it? Because when you look at astrology, an astrologer will ask you questions for what was going on when you was 27, the Saturn return, what was going on when this happened, what was going on when that happened, and that way they can interpret what the planets are meaning. Right. For me, when I was doing my tarot thing, I don't want to know nothing. The best person I can give a reading for is someone who has just walked in off the street, and it would probably be even better if I couldn't see them. There was like a screen in front of me, and that's where. But yeah, it's such a big jump to, you can be called to it, or you can have a talent to for whatever oracular or healing arts that you have. But then to recognize that and then say, this is how I'm going to make my living in today's society. That's a huge jump.
I was just speaking with someone about this, and I was, all right. So I'm going to tell you what my analogy was. So we were talking about being women and duality and how we're very multifaceted, right? Like we're just multifaceted. So we're multidimensional. Like we can be one and the other. It doesn't mean like we have to be one or the other.
Yeah.
And so I had used an example of this woman who, she was a pastor, and I just think she's an amazing woman, right? She's a pastor who went to, I don't want to say porn star, but
Mhm.
something along that line, so, but I admire her so much because she followed what was right for her soul. And there's nothing wrong in my world.
Mm.
You can be anything you want. If it fills your soul, more power to you. I'm not anyone to judge anyone, right? And so, and I just think it's amazing. And I was saying how my boys had went to Catholic schools, 12 years, like all preschool to graduating. And I said how I had came out of the closet as a medium, and that was not easy at all, because I didn't know how the Catholic religion would. I had no idea. I was raised Catholic. I just didn't want my kids to be affected by this in any way.
Yeah.
But my soul was calling. I had to risk it. I was willing to show up, to step out, to do the thing. And I just did it in a more discreet way. But we were comparing it to the pastor who became a porn star or whatever she did, with, being here in Catholicism to mediumship. It was very welcomed, by the way, after, like, it was totally fine. No one ever shunned me or anything in any way. They were amazing to my family, to myself. Um, but I forget why I was even telling you this story. Why was I telling you this?
People diving in to making that.
Oh, right.
jump.
And so it's scary to like just dive in, because not only are you going into something that is so unknown to yourself, but now it's very unfamiliar to a lot of people around you. So it's not usually you have a ton of support. I wouldn't tell my mother-in-law for years, because I truly believe she like tried to take my kids away.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't. She thought I was crazy for even thinking that, but I really was. That was a true fear of mine, that, oh my gosh, I don't want anyone to think I've really lost my mind, So now you're going into this profession that there's so many uncertainties on so many levels, literally.
Yeah.
And so the stronger you become, or the more grounded, the more centered, the more balanced, the more in harmony, the easier it is to navigate it all, including your connection with spirit. I see so many talented people, so many. They're so talented, and they wonder why their business isn't expanding. It's not because they're not gifted. They're extremely gifted. They can do some kick-ass readings.
Mm-hmm.
It's because of the self-doubt of themselves, because of like the emotional intelligence piece of it, and that deciphering and being able to pivot back and forth. But I feel like our world needs more of us out there, right? Like they need more of me and you, right? Like so much more of us out there to help elevate. This is the contrast. This is bringing balance to the world. Everyone going out there and, really being of service, being of light.
We need more people
We
who are
need them
on fire doing what they do. You love being you and you do it really, really well. I love being me and doing what I do. Travis, who from Bloodstone Studios, who I interviewed recently, if there is anybody on this planet who is having a whale of a time being themselves, that's the man. But even so, we society, I don't know whether this is society, it is to a point, because I've people get fed a line, or can go believing that if you do what you love, you're not necessarily going to get any money for it. You just enjoy the fact that you do what you love. And I've been a penniless actor. I wasn't a good actor, but or a penniless dancer. I've been penniless many things, but had a whale of a time doing them. And then when I've had the money coming in at various points of my life, when I was younger, I was bored stiff. So now I'm finding that balance. But hey, I'm nearly 50, so it can take a while.
Yeah, it definitely can. I have a master class that is coming in November. This actually has been out already, and I will be doing more signups for it. But it's called Magnetic, and it's exactly about that. It's about our money blueprint, and why the thing, like why we have the relationship with money that we do, and how to shift that, and it changes our entire life. I was on a 4-year quest with money. Like it was a big thing for me. Not that I couldn't receive it. I was great at receiving it. I was even better at spending it. It was that I like couldn't break through, and I knew about the energetics of money, and I became obsessed with it. 4 years, obsessed, to finding out about the vibration of money, to finding out why it was easy for some and why it was harder for others, and why somebody who could come from poverty could increase their income, like they could actually become very wealthy. And then somebody who had money could struggle and lose it, but then how they could gain it, like just all different concepts and just everything about money. 4 years of this, to find out like what my truth was, to shift things around it, to create that flow. That's really easy. I have to say, the least amount of work that I do, the more money I make.
Yeah.
It's really about cleaning up your energy, getting aligned, shifting the beliefs, like all of the things.
Yeah,
And
working out what beliefs were there in the first place. Like there's so many people who think that to be like the traditional or medieval vows of poverty.
yeah.
You know, there's, if you're going to be spiritual, then you can't be having money for it. There's so many people that carry that belief. Or like I said, as I was brought up, well, if you do what you love, you ain't going to get paid for it. You're just going to have the bonus of enjoying what you do. And that was one of mine that I've had to shift. Now I'm shifting. But it is a different truth for everybody, but the money still works the same way, doesn't it?
Mine was about identity. That was like a big thing about identity for me. And being a mom, like I held on to the identity of mom so much. And for some reason, mom to me didn't receive past X amount of dollars. Like mom only went so far.
Yeah.
You know, so it was really like flipping that identity and detaching from it, you know. But it was holding me back from everything, down to like the exact amount that I would make. I could not go past it. It was like, it didn't matter. I was like, what is wrong? This is not how it works, you know? And I knew that intellectually, but I couldn't. And then, like I said, I don't believe in digging stuff up, because you'll create stuff if you start digging shit up, you know? But I couldn't get to it. And I was like, what is happening? So I had to ride the wave, wait for the stuff to come up as it was meant to. It was like layers peeling and peeling and peeling.
I love that image that you say that, although I know I started earlier talking about waves with emotions, but that riding the wave, because that's the other shape of looking at a vibration, isn't it? You've got your frequency and you've got your wavelength, or you've got the traveling on the wave itself. And, you know, there's, as water signs, we're both aware of the emotional amplitude that can happen from of any particular wavelength we experience.
And we bring ourselves, so we're in this like great place because we get into our head about it and we're so excited and we're in this great place. But that 1 second we can drop and everything, you know, it's like, what just happened? And then we think we get ourselves out of it and we go back up, and then we're riding. Now it's just a roller coaster. And we're like, how do we get off of this, you know?
Well, that was my point with the astrology at the moment, because all of these things are being shown to all of us in our own different ways, in ways that surely people can't miss. You know, I mean, I've certainly seen those huge, big symbols. I'm not going to say quite the 6 mile burning letters in the sky symbols that we've all experienced at some point or another, but nonetheless, there's no escaping when the world's going, oi, look at this.
Right. I don't know, I'm becoming more and more fascinated with astrology. Like I really am into human design. I think it's
good things about it. I don't know
it
a lot
is.
about it.
Here's what's really cool. I don't know about for anyone else, but this is what I know. Is that I was introduced to it a few years ago, and I really was like into it, and I used it for myself. And then I started to really start reading about it and understanding it. And when I would work with somebody and do a reading for them, just for myself, I said different things about their personalities, about this, about that. Then when I decided to bring human design into my work a little bit, and I would do their chart, they were matching up, which I just found mind-blowing, because the things that I was already picking up, I was like, oh my gosh, this says it too. It was like kind of like this validation for me. Not that I didn't believe my information, but it is what it did make me believe was in the human design more. Because I was just like, this is so amazing. But I mean, that was just for me, my perspective of it, because I'm not someone who believes in things easily, believe it or not. Like, I'm very skeptical of things. I take everything with a grain of salt. And if it resonates with me, it resonates. If not, it doesn't, right? So, and astrology has always resonated with me, but for some reason it felt very complicated to me.
Oh,
Like
it is.
too many numbers. And like, I'm not a numbers girl at all. That like, it took me a long time to learn how to do spreadsheets. Like, I'm just not a numbers girl. So, but I can be as airy-fairy as they come, you know, it's just kind of which way I go. So with human design, it was like, wait, it's astrology, it's Kabbalah, and it's all the things, but there's not a lot of numbers. And then when it gets into the numbers, it kind of like, I pull back a little bit, but then I can, but it's still not as intense, I feel like, as astrology. Like, there's just so many numbers in astrology. God bless you, like, to do that.
I noticed how you say it gave you more faith in the human design, but I love when you see those, you're looking at two different disciplines,
Yeah.
and you're seeing where they mesh. I mean, for an example, I do some of my monthly zodiac readings with the tarot.
Mhm.
And then I'll go and listen to Astrology with Heather, or Ksenia Moore, or the one, or Written in the Stars by Rux, the ones who do the forecast, astrology weather forecast for specific signs. You know, they'll say, here's the general stuff, and Cancer rising will get this, and Leo rising will get that, and Virgo rising will get this. And then I've just finished a day filming, doing my readings, and I relaxed by watching this stuff. And it's like, I just said that. I just
right? Isn't it? It's so mind blowing. It's like,
yeah.
wait, what? And that's what I found. I've never found anything that would do that, like that was so connected to my readings. I'm like, I don't have any tools except for me when I'm reading.
Yeah.
So here's this thing, and I was like, whoa, this is amazing. So for anyone, I don't like do human design readings specifically, but definitely there's a lot of great people out there. It's so amazing.
Yes, we've had on this channel a lady called Amy Hatlan, and she had mentioned about it's not her big thing, but she was a huge fan of human design as well, and said what a wonderful art it was. If you know any good human design people, I think we need to have them on this channel so we can discuss and learn more about it, because I just keep hearing good things. Right, we've waffled again for ages. So you've got soul codes coming up, you've got magnetic coming up. Anything else?
I always have I have embodiment, which that is my membership. That's a low cost membership that we just basically, it's a weekly class. And then it is, you know, help maintaining your vibration during the week. It's not one-on-one, so it's a little more free, you know, it's a little different type of container. There's amazing women in there that provide such amazing support for each other, and I'm proud of my work, a lot of it.
Right, so all of your contact details are going to be in the description down below. So yeah, I will look up the pages for soul codes, magnetic, but it's all on the front page of your website anyway, isn't it?
No, actually.
Oh no, you best send me them
But
links.
here's what I will say. If anyone is interested in any of my containers, feel free to DM me or private message me, because I'm very personable. You will get me. If it's not me, you'll know it's not me. Like, I'll say this is my assistant replying to you, like she'll let you know. So you like feel free to email me. I'm human. I'm just, you know, I'll reply to you and let you know if you're looking for the link, you know.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for coming on again, Necole.
Yes.
I'll be able to tempt you to come on again when we've got another topic. Yeah,
I will, for sure.
brilliant.
Definitely.
We should get some of the other people in. We can have a group multidisciplinary disciplinary chat on some topic or other. Thank you so much. So again, all of Nicole's Details are going to be down below. Like, share, subscribe, all that good YouTube stuff. And yeah, see you later.